Creepy facts you can't unlearn, part 3. 89% of missing children are dead within the first 24 hours. That's why if there's an Amber Alert or a missing child in your area, you should pay attention. You may have learned that George Washington had wooden teeth, but some of them were sourced from enslaved people. Records at Mount Vernon show that George Washington bought teeth from his own slaves. And it wasn't uncommon for impoverished people in the 18th and 19th centuries to resort to selling their teeth. The fact that a person with no rights was paid for this action indicates that the president understood the weight of what this person was giving up. But of course there is a huge power dynamic, and it barely scratches the surface of how horrific slavery was. A trip to the chiropractor can severely injure, if not kill you. The aggressive neck snapping motion can go wrong, rupturing an artery. And this can cause stroke or even death. Many doctors recommend going to a physical therapist instead. I've covered multiple chiropractic injuries on my channel, one of which is the case of Caitlin Jensen, which is pinned to the top of my page. If you learned something new, follow my account and let me know if you want a part 4.
Alafia! My name is Oshun. On this channel, we uncover the creepiest, most unusual haunted TikToks the internet has to offer for entertainment purposes. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the Soul Tribe for your weekly dose of supernatural coming to you every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursdays, baby. Y'all are my Soul Tribe. Tribe is with a Y because the Y is for you, and that's because I love you so freaking much. Yes, I do. I appreciate you. Appreciate your time, baby. And I do not take it for granted whatsoever. Now let's get to this next video.
Scary facts. Did you know if you smell smoke and there is nothing burning, that could mean you could be surrounded by spirits?
Creepy facts about the human body. You can become allergic to yourself. Your immune system has no ideas that your eyes exist, and if it did, it would try to blind you. If you hit your chest at a very specific time in your body's electrical system, your heart will stop. Our brain filters out a lot of what our eyes actually see and just makes shit up. The inside of your cheek and the inside of your rectum are made of the same lining. You get laser tattoo removal, it doesn't disappear, you pee it out. Front of your tongue is very curious and autonomous. Actually, when you go to the dentist and the dentist is in your mouth, your tongue chases the dentist. Your ears never stop growing. Earwax is a type of sweat. You're 1 centimeter taller in the morning. This is because as you walk around during the day, the soft cartilage between your bones becomes compacted. The surface of your skin is often replaced, and you have about 1,000 different skins during your lifetime. On average, we spend a year of our lives on the toilet. Every month, you urinate enough to fill a bathtub.
Scary facts you didn't know. There are at least 10 recorded cases of someone dying from laughter. At some point in time, a stranger has thought of killing you. Selfies are responsible for more deaths every year than sharks. There's a shack called the Devil's Toy Box in Louisiana, and people who go in there supposedly lose their minds. When a person dies, they have 7 minutes of brain activity left in which they see a dreamlike sequence of their memories. Most serial killers are born in November. Creepy facts you didn't know about. On Christmas 2013, a child in Houston received a Disney's Frozen Elsa doll that would end up haunted and make the news. The doll would sing the song Let It Go, alternating in English and Spanish. There was no button to swap languages, and it wasn't programmed for Spanish. The family had owned the doll for over 6 years and never changed its batteries. The mother says the doll would randomly begin to speak and sing even with its switch turned off. They threw the creepy doll out in December 2019. Weeks later, they found it inside a bench in their living room. Nobody placed it there. The family then bagged the bizarre doll and placed it at the bottom of their garbage and saw it taken by the garbage truck. They took a short trip, only to return to the doll sitting in their backyard.
Scary facts you don't know about.
Your brain can imagine terrifying scenarios in the dark that feel more real than dreams. Every human has tiny mites living on their face, feeding on oils and dead skin cells while you sleep. The sound you hear when you crack your knuckles. Is gas escaping from your joints? Similar to how bodies bloat and pop after death. There's a fungus that turns ants into zombies, forcing them to climb to their deaths. The majority of elevators have a hidden hatch above them, used to retrieve people who died in elevator accidents. Your reflection in the mirror could move a fraction of a second slower than you. Your brain just compensates so you don't notice.
Baby, I keep forgetting about the daggone fan. We got a good show today, okay? Strap in, put your seatbelt on. Next video.
Creepy facts about Marilyn Monroe. Her body went missing for 6 hours after she died. Even though it was an overdose, her face has bruising that was never explained. Her stomach contents were empty and no trace of pills were found. Marilyn's body had signs of Saw with unknown DNA.
Creepy facts about the Zodiac signs.
Gemini to faced. Taurus, stalkers. Aquarius, very manipulating. Leo. Good liars. Cancer, obsessive in relationships. Libra knows how to ruin your day in every way.
Creepy fact you didn't know about sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis can be a very distressing experience for those who suffer from it. During sleep paralysis, sufferers become aware they're experiencing atonium muscle paralysis yet are unable to do anything about. Typically, atonia ends when you wake up, and you never even realize you went through this temporary paralysis. For individuals who suffer sleep paralysis, however, something goes wrong during this process, and they're launched into a state of mixed consciousness. These individuals become aware that they're paralyzed and can also experience various hallucinations due to the fact that their REM sleep cycle doesn't stop when they wake. Sleep paralysis hallucinations fall into 3 categories, all of which are very distressing to the sufferer. Intruder hallucinations, in which sufferers perceive a dangerous presence in their room. Chest pressure, aka incubus hallucinations, in which sufferers feel a sense of suffocation and someone sitting on their chest. Vestibular motor VM hallucinations, in which sufferers feel out-of-body sensations such as flying. These hallucinations can happen concurrently, so in an extra distressing episode, a person can feel as though there's someone sitting on their chest suffocating them while there's another intruder in a room who also means them harm.
Scary facts you wish you never knew. CNN has had a pre-recorded broadcast from the 90s, which they will premiere during the end of the world. A mysterious unknown Russian radio station has been broadcasting a strange buzzing punctuated by intermittent code words since 1973. Typing for 4 will turn on TikTok's dark mode. There's a shack called the Devil's Toy Box in Louisiana, and for some reason people who go and lose their mind. Do you know the tingly feeling you get when you eat a pineapple? Well, that's because the pineapple is eating you. It has an enzyme called bromelain, and that enzyme eats meat which you're made of. 23% of children under the age of 13 have experienced auditory illusions, meaning they've heard voices. Sharks have been around for 420 million years, meaning they have survived all four big mass extinctions, making them older than dinosaurs.
Scary facts you wish you never knew. There's a shack called the Devil's Toy Box in Louisiana, and for some reason people who go in lose their mind. You know the tingly feeling you get when you eat a pineapple? Well, that's because the pineapple is eating you. It has an enzyme called bromelain, and that enzyme eats meat, which you're made of. Now you can check if your phone activity is being monitored. Just click on share, slide all the way to the end, click more. And if any apps appear before your contacts, you should delete it immediately. Sharks have been around for 420 million years, meaning they have survived all four big mass extinctions, making them older than dinosaurs, Mount Everest, and even some trees on this planet. Yet we could potentially see them go extinct in our lifetime. The person who invented homework came up with the idea as a punishment for students. Follow for more.
Terrifying facts you never knew. If your immune system ever found out that you have eyeballs, you would go blind. Which means right now your immune system has no clue that you can see. Because if it did, they would attack your eyeballs until you could no longer ever see. This is because your eyeballs have a protein in them called crystalline that doesn't exist anywhere else in your body. So if your immune system found out and checked them out, it would be like, something's wrong here. Studies show that most serial killers are born in November. Today's high school students have the same anxiety levels as insane asylum patients had in the 1950s. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, my anxiety might be up there too. There's a disease called fatal familial insomnia, where people suddenly one day lose their ability to fall asleep, which leads them to slowly go insane. They can't distinguish dreams from reality anymore and go into some type of paranoia. It becomes so severe that they eventually die. Those that make it to the final stage and don't die usually end up in a vegetated state, no longer conscious. And it can happen to any one of you. About 3,000 people go missing every year in the United States. The last execution by guillotine was in 1977. This was in France. And also that was the same year the first Star Wars movie came out. You are always 6 minutes away from death, but breathing resets the clock. In 2011, Anatoly Yakovlevich was arrested for having 12 dolls in his apartment. Only problem is, they weren't normal dolls. They were recently deceased little girls that had been dug up and dressed to be put on display. In 2012, a Burger King employee anonymously posted this to 4chan. It said, "This is the lettuce you eat at Burger King." It only took 20 minutes for people to track down the branch that he worked at, and he was fired. You really never know what people are doing to your food. H.H. Holmes was a serial killer who built a torture hotel in the 19th century. He had secret rooms with gas chambers, trap doors, and stairs that led to nowhere. He loved to play with his victims' minds. It was almost like a real-life Saw movie. There's a bridge in Scotland called the Overtoun Bridge, and for some reason, dogs keep jumping off of it at the same spot. Yeah, they just jump to their deaths. Experts can't figure out why either. Some people speculate it's a magnetic field or maybe a frequency that only they can hear, but others believe it's something supernatural. But whatever is making dogs jump off that bridge to their deaths is still to this day unexplained. Joe Matheny was an infamous serial killer who not only cooked his victims to eat for himself, but also made them into burgers using their remains. He then sold them to unsuspecting customers from a roadside food stand. We really never know what we eating. I'm cooking all my food myself. This is why I don't eat over people's house. In 2021, a new homeowner was shocked to find a boarded up wall. When he ripped the boards off the wall, he discovered a hole. In that hole was a doll clutching a note. The note saying that she killed a family who lived there in the 1960s. Be honest, would you move out? In 1978, there was a pilot named Frederick Valentin. Him and his plane disappeared in Australia. His last communication was, "Melbourne, that strange aircraft is hovering above me again." It is hovering and it is not an aircraft. This is a mugshot of William West and William West. Oh, and they're not related at all, but they were both sent to Leavenworth Prison at the exact same time in 1903. And after some confusion, the staff finally figured out they were two different people who had the exact same name and looked identical. This was said to be one of the main reasons why we now use fingerprints to identify somebody. There's biotech being developed as we speak that can make prisoners feel they are serving an 1,000-year sentence in a matter of 8 hours. That's horrifying. Imagine thinking you spent 1,000 years somewhere, and then when you wake up and snap out of it, you realize that it was only a couple hours. Do you know how crazy that is? Anyways, like this video if you want a part 2.
That shit was crazy. At first I was a little pissed because it was repeating the video before, and then he started getting into the goody to the snooty, okay? That shit was good, okay? Wow. Mind blown, okay? And he was eating noodles. I thought he ate healthy. Like, what's going on, buddy?
Facts you didn't know about the U.S. As many as 50 serial killers are on the loose in the United States. There's a 1 in 3 chance police will never identify your killer if you're murdered in the U.S. About 1 in 50 people in the United States currently have a brain aneurysm that just hasn't ruptured. Follow if you're scared.
When she died, he snuck into her tomb and brought her corpse home. He kept her in the house for 7 years straight as the body rotted away, and he propped her up like a mannequin. He was only caught when someone saw him dancing with the corpse in front of an open window. Like for part 2.
Scary facts that you're gonna wish you never heard. Whenever you take a dip in the ocean, you're basically swimming in a huge graveyard. It's been estimated that throughout history, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people have died in the ocean. And in the United States, over 1,600 people have gone missing in national parks. And just in case you needed any more nightmare fuel, here's a video of a massive huntsman spider shedding its skin. And I didn't even know that these things could do that.
Disturbing facts about history. Queen Elizabeth I was so obsessed with sugar, her teeth started to rot while she was still alive. Most people had a very hard time understanding her. A lady named Mary Croft convinced doctors she was pregnant with rabbits. She placed parts of dead animals into her stomach and reproductive area to make the birth seem as realistic as possible. During the construction of the film center of the Cultural Center of the Philippines, a scaffolding accident caused 169 construction workers to be buried alive in the wet, quick-drying cement. Many of these bodies are still buried. Joan of Arc was burned to death as a heretic. They burned her body 3 whole times to make sure there was nothing left of her. When King Henry VIII died, his coffin began to leak. The next morning, it was found that a stray dog had got into the chapel and was licking up the putrid matter from the floor beneath the coffin. He allegedly exploded shortly after being placed into the chapel.
Facts you didn't know about.
You are always 6 minutes away from dying, and every time you take a breath, the clock happens to restart. If a person dies in their costume at Disney like Mickey Mouse, they have to be sat down on a bench so it looks like they're resting. If you ever been sleeping and you had a nightmare that you've been falling off of a building or out of the sky, and you woke up kind of flinching a little bit, this is actually called hypnic jerks. And basically what it is, it's your body thinking you're about to die, so it wakes you up. Only about 20% of the ocean has been discovered. Until now, no one knows how big the ocean really is. When you suddenly wake up during the night without any reason, there was someone or something staring. If you remember your dream when you wake up, then it wasn't a dream, it was a message.
Hey, those jerks are crazy. When I was going through cancer, I used to jerk all the time out of my sleep. All the time, to the point where I thought something was wrong with me, or I thought that all the drugs that they had pumped into me at the time was affecting my nervous system. But that makes sense. That means I was about to die every other night. Because, baby, those jerks were crazy. Like, I'm so happy it stopped. But it went on for multiple years during that time of me battling cancer.
Last tribe on Earth to use what some believe is the most ancient hunting technique of all.
That was the Sand People of the Kalahari Desert in Africa, who used the most ancient yet the most terrifying hunting technique that was passed down to us by our ancestors. Now, we all know that every single animal has adaptations that have allowed them to survive to the modern day. For instance, we all know that cheetahs are the fastest land mammal on Earth. Sharks have a limitless supply of teeth that they use to tear their prey apart. But what about humans? Now, I know what you're saying. Our brains, obviously. Easily, we are the smartest creatures on the planet. But, be that as it may, if I was to plop any one of us in the middle of Africa and told you to survive, regardless of how smart you are, how many PhDs you got, you're probably not going to make it. So what other adaptations besides our intelligence gave humans the edge over animals, and more specifically, our prey? Running. Human beings are easily the best long-distance runners in the entire world. Now, this is due to a few different reasons. Number one, the ability to sweat. Now, short of monkeys, apes, hippos, and horses, human beings are the only creatures that can actually sweat, which allows us to cool as we run. And also, being bipedal, our tendons and our muscles have adapted to, when we hit the ground, kind of spring forward, something that four-legged animals just don't have. So how do we use this adaptation? It is called persistence hunting. We would literally run our prey down. Now, in unison with our brains, what humans would do would get up, find a prey, and literally run it to exhaustion. They would run, the animal would get tired, and then we would catch up. It would run, it would get tired, and we would catch up. And we'd repeat this process for sometimes up to 8 to 12 hours before an animal would ultimately fall to exhaustion, allowing us to go in for the kill. This is actually best demonstrated by the Sand People of the Kalahari in Africa, who still use persistence hunting up until the last decade. And from a prey's perspective, how absolutely terrifying must that be? With the ability to track and find hiding places and know the layout of the land, there was literally no escape. They would just run and run and run. And no matter how far you ran, you were never going to escape.
And then the kudu collapses from sheer exhaustion.
Facts. According to psychologists, people who watch horror movies for fun and sleep well afterwards are potential psychopaths. You can tell if you are dreaming or not by looking around for a clock. Clocks never appear in dreams because there is no sense of time. During mating, the male sea otter will hold the female's head underwater, biting their faces and forcing them into submission. Sometimes while doing this, the female otter may die due to being drowned. The boxer known as Sugar Robinson backed out of a fight because of a strange dream. I had just gone to sleep and woke up in a cold sweat. In my dreams, I knocked out Doyle and I saw him dying. I was terrified, said Robinson. At least 1 in 25 people sentenced to the death penalty are innocent.
Hello and welcome to the Mental Health Hotline. If you are obsessive compulsive, press 1 repeatedly. If you are codependent, ask someone to press 2 for you. If you have multiple personalities, press 3, 4, 5, and 6. If you are paranoid, we know what you are and what...
Scary facts you didn't know. In South Korea, most schools are said to be haunted because many students commit suicide in the stalls. If you feel that you've been in that place but haven't, that's because you've been there in your past life. There is a 10% chance your teacher is a serial killer. If you wake up with random cuts or bruises, it could have been demons. Pineapple contains an enzyme called bromelain. When you eat pineapple, this enzyme digests protein in your body. It eats you back. Satan was once an angel. We are closer to 2060 than to 1960.
How do I meet the strangest men? They always seem to find me. Remember that time way back when I kissed a guy who ate his women friends? Now only dogs will follow me. Is he following? I bite at the hand that feeds me, slap at the face that eats me. Some kind of animal cannibal made impressions on me. Have we met before? Possibly in Michigan, in some strange department store.
This is the scary truth behind Peppa Pig. Peppa Pig was diagnosed with cancer at just 2 years old and spent her early life in bed. She needed constant assistance and 24-hour supervision from her parents just to keep her alive. Peppa Pig was an embarrassment and a burden to the whole family. One day, her dad had enough and got a horrible idea. He decided to chain Peppa Pig to her bed so she can never leave her room again. Years later, her parents had another child in which they named Peppa. This Peppa replaced the original Peppa, who was still locked inside her room. And if you Google Peppa Pig house wallpapers, something terrifying comes up. If you zoom in, you can see the original Peppa still locked inside her room.
Scary facts you didn't want to know. Thinking too much could actually kill you. If you sit in an old piece of furniture, you are more likely to be possessed. Hundreds and thousands of bodies have been lost at sea or buried, so you're basically swimming in a graveyard. If you have two mirrors or more facing each other, it makes a portal for spirits. Someone could be stalking you right now. A body decomposes 4 times faster in water than on land.
Scary facts you wish you never knew.
A mysterious unknown Russian radio station has been broadcasting a strange buzzing, punctuated by interest, and even some trees on this planet. CNN has had a pre-recorded broadcast from the 90s, which they will premiere during the end of the world.
Creepy facts you didn't know about. It has been found by psychologists that people experience optical philistons, witnessing deformation of their faces after staring at oneself for 10 minutes in the mirror. Known as the Troxeer effect, your brain alters your face when you stare into a mirror for a period of time. Sleeping with a TV in a room creates portals for demons to watch you sleep. Several U.S. movie theaters hired a priest to bless the audiences coming out of viewings of The Conjuring after people reported feeling a negative presence. It has been found by psychologists that people experience optical philistons, witnessing deformation of their faces after staring at themselves for 10 minutes in the mirror. In this study, 43% of people reported that their faces had changed to monstrous beings. 30% of people witnessed things in their hallway pitch black. Creepy facts you didn't know about Virginia. Virginia is home to 3 kinds of deadly spiders: black widow, brown recluse, and the yellow sac spider. The most murders are Norfolk, Newport News, and Richmond, while Virginia as a state is considered among the highest. There seems to be pockets of areas where murder and crime are particularly dangerous. 3 deadly kinds of snakes that you should avoid at all cost: the eastern cottonmouth, northern copperhead, and the timber rattlesnake. Cold Harbor Battlefield Park, Richmond, is said to be one of the most haunted battlefields in the United States. The area is now part of a national park and so protected by rangers. But that doesn't stop people from spotting some of the many ghosts that are said to remain to haunt the trenches. Visitors also report hearing the distant sounds of a brutal battle going on.
Disturbing brain facts. 1. The brain will protect itself even if it means misery to you or death. If you're stuck in the middle of a cold place, your brain will fall asleep to conserve energy and never wake up again. Inhaling smoke in the middle of a burning house, your brain will make you stop breathing and pass out. 2. Your brain doesn't necessarily stop all activity the moment you are pronounced clinically dead. Up to 30 minutes of brain activity has been recorded after death. 3. Comment brain and I will DM you a brain hack you definitely have never heard about. 4. When you're falling asleep at night and your body jerks, this is called hypnic jerks. This happens because your brain thinks you're dying if your body falls asleep faster than your brain. 5. 90% of all illness and disease is stress-related. 6. Certain brain injuries or conditions can lead to spontaneous and uncontrollable bursts of aggressive or violent behavior, even in individuals who were previously non-violent. 7. Your eyeballs are an extension of your brain and are directly connected to it.
Well, that's it, folks. This was another great video, if I must say myself. Couldn't keep my mouth closed. Sorry that you've seen how deep my throat is. My bad. Baby, this was a good one, okay? Well, I hope you enjoyed it, honey, because I did. This was a good video. Sorry about the repeats. That shit was annoying, but it is what it is, okay? Learned a lot. Whether you believe or not, it is what it is. This is for entertainment purposes only. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe to the Soul Tribe. And you already know what to do. Give it to everybody, okay? Because everybody needs a piece of this knowledge. Anyway, I love y'all. Y'all my Soul Tribe. Tribe is with a Y because the Y is for you. And that's because I love you so freaking much. Y'all have a great day. Now you hear? Ashe.